Is the second base racist? If not, why not?
Also, why did third base get into that NASCAR female driver's panties?
Oh, panties. Such an interesting word.
She's a horrible driver.
She's terrible.
But we have to act as though she's as good as any man.
GoDaddy.com.
When it comes to the Emmys, there's more to this than I think people understand. Obviously, why do we care about the Emmys? You know, politics is culture is upstream from politics. So with the Emmys, it also ties into what's going on with Rolling Stone, ESPN. We'll get to that in a second. But it might as well have just been, I understand that you're in an industry where people might lean left, but it was proactively a social justice warrior. Screed, it was a get-together. It was like Alcoholics Anonymous for social justice warriors, but it was broadcast. See this.
I think the world would be a better place if more women were in charge.
Because unlike the presidency, Emmys go to the winner of the popular vote.
I want to thank Trump for making black people #1 on the most oppressed list.
We did have a whole storyline about an impeachment, but we abandoned that because we were worried that someone else might get to it first.
I suppose I should say, at long last, Mr. President, here is your Emmy.
He came across as mean-spirited.
Yeah,
and I know those old Trump's mean. It came up for people who love to fancy themselves as creative and compassionate. Not only that, but afterwards, if you read the headlines, Sean Spicer made an appearance and he poked fun at himself. People were furious. Like, oh, I can't believe anyone would have him out. They were mad at Stephen Colbert. How can you normalize Sean Spicer? Everything from a knot. It's like this guy is no longer, he's no longer working for the president. He can't come out and do a joke.
How dare you treat that human like a human?
Can you believe that they're actually mad that they use someone who clearly has been the butt of a joke for years and for months, for the last year, and he came out. And it feels like years, and he just made a joke about himself, and they were furious.
Yeah, they hate jokes. And it's also, you can see a lot about someone's character by how they act when they win something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, like you win, and now you're like, and now I'm gonna get back at everybody versus now I'm gonna be grateful. Like, it's just so revealing.
If you were to just throw out a net, like throw out a dolphin catching net into this audience, and who would you grab? How many of them have been part of progressive anti-bullying campaigns? Right away, Alec Baldwin, Kevin Spacey, Stephen Colbert, they all do those jump cut anti-bullying campaigns. When you say gay, when you say gay, when you say gay, do you know what you say? We can take a stand. We can take a stand. Like that. They've all taken part in it.
I'm so good at it.
And then they go, and then they go out here, and it's just attack after attack after attack and taunt on President Trump. And people can say, well, it's because they're punching up. No, no, no. Listen, they are not punching up. They made fun of his reality show. They've made fun of his family. These people have far more power and influence, or they certainly did at one point, than just the guy in the White House. This is the cultural entertainment establishment elite. When we talk about why Trump won, this is a big reason why. People tune into the Emmys, very few now, on record with the lowest rated Emmys ever, and they go, I just can't. Even people who don't necessarily like Trump are just going, it's just a constant sucker punch, and they shut it off. Alec Baldwin won an award for doing a Donald Trump impression, which would suck at a local open mic, and he's not even on the cast at SNL. It's the only thing he does. Okay, his Trump impression is just doing this. It's slightly better than Ben Shapiro. And then Donald Glover, let's unpack this. Thanks, black's the most oppressed group. What? What? Yeah. Am I the only one who watched that? I understand everyone else, okay, you hate Donald Trump, but is it just because that's completely nonsensical? Like, I can understand a leftist making an argument like, okay, Muslims, the ban, immigrants, because they don't delineate between illegal and legal.
Maybe transgenders, the military thing, blacks? Maybe?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a little nutty.
I can't think of any discernible, none that would harm blacks from Donald Trump. Even disproportionately, inadvertently, harm black people. Yeah. But let's unpack this, by the way. Blacks, the most oppressed. Really? Police officers are 3 times less likely to shoot unarmed black suspects. You're welcome. Sincerely, white people, 3 times more likely to be shot. Black people don't like that stat. It's absolutely true. Black people getting into school in the United States with lower SAT scores thanks to affirmative action. People screwed? The Asians. They have to get higher scores. They're held to an absolutely different standard. Black employment, as a matter of fact, if we want to talk specifically under Donald Trump, has gone up with 700,000 black jobs since he's taken office. So when you just come out and you say, black are the most oppressed, first off, they're not the most oppressed group in this country, certainly not as it results to systemic discrimination. Now, if you want to talk about individual discrimination, ironically, of which you're creating more because you're using your Emmy platform to say that everyone's racist, who helped get you an Emmy, yeah, they're individual jackasses. But it has nothing to do with systemic discrimination. Is there a, that's the comment of the day. Tweet us or comment below. What systemic discrimination is there in the United States today, specifically to black people, making them the most oppressed group? I want to hear your comments because I can't think of anything. Trayvon Free, who won an Emmy beforehand, I guess he won it, he got it in advance. I don't know, it's like people who can take their midterms early. So he tweeted out this. He tweeted out, standing in the street holding this, and a cab driver looked at me, drove past, and picked up a white lady 10 feet behind me. Amazing. So a couple things with this tweet. People just take it at face value and it gets, millions of people in reach. No one hails a cab in Los Angeles. That woman called for that cab. She called for that cab. So you're bitching about a cab that a woman called for. Every cab driver in Los Angeles, I was there for years, is a Middle Eastern Muslim. Am I wrong here?
No, they're pretty.
Yeah, Middle Eastern Muslims. So is this tweet Islamophobic? No one going to call him on that one? Why would an Emmy matter? If he didn't have one, would it be less offensive? Would he be more important than a black person without an Emmy? Middle Eastern Muslim cab driver probably saw a dark-skinned guy with the Emmy and thought it was a Sikh with a holy dagger looking to take him out. And by the way, just like the rape accusations, none of this holds up when held to scrutiny. It doesn't hold any water. The picture is, there was a cab going by, hey, and it went past the black guy to this white lady. No. She called for a cab and you're a dick. The Rolling Stone is up for sale too. This relates not only the Emmys, but it goes like Rolling Stone is up for sale and they directly admit, you can read a quote where it's because of leftist politics. Like people know this. It's because they've continually gone more and more left and people no longer want to read Rolling Stone, so subscribership is down. Who'd have thought that a music magazine that's become exclusively a political activist magazine could possibly go under? This is where it becomes mean-spirited when you look at everyone getting together. It's like the cool kids table. We all hate Trump, right? And I get it. Trump can be a bombastic ass. I'm not saying he's some shrinking violet. I understand it. But when it's everybody, when it's the Emmys, the Oscars, all of the entertainment industry, all of the media complex, ABC, NBC, CNN, when it's ESPN, when it's Rolling Stone, when it's Variety, when it's now GQ and when it's everybody doggy piling on, at what point do you just feel gross for being a coward? When it comes to the Rolling Stone, have they learned nothing from ESPN? ESPN had to lay off 100 on-air personalities because of subscriber losses. Like it was recently Jemele Hill calling Trump a white supremacist. I mean, there are a lot of things you can say about Trump or disagree with, but white supremacist is not one of them. You see, again, this all ties in. These people are in such an echo chamber. ESPN doesn't understand that people actually tune into them for sports.
Welcome to Sports Center. Today in sports, we talk debt ceiling. We also talk Washington gridlock. Are Republicans to blame? Most likely.
Of course they are. That's right, John. Also, an investigative report into the increasing and disturbing lack of diversity in the sport of curling.
Such a shame. So disturbing. In 2017, such a shame.
Especially when it's so unavoidable, John. Also, men in the women's locker rooms, where sexual assault ends and transgender rights begin.
And an expose on NBA's notorious heightism, where the glass ceiling quite literally is the backboard.
Where are the shorts? Alarming.
Where are the Asians?
Later, football.
Oh, what is that? What's football?
Here's the thing. With Emmys, ratings are terrible. Rolling Stone, we're for sale. ESPN, they're hemorrhaging viewers. You look at late night, well, first off, Jimmy Fallon is losing to Stephen Colbert right now, which is crazy because Letterman didn't beat Leno for years, remember, in the last few years. But they used to get, 6 million, 8 million apiece. By the end of it, it was like 5 or 6. Stephen Colbert's getting 3. Jimmy Fallon's getting 2. People are tired of tuning in. The more that these people in the entertainment industry get away from their purpose, which is to entertain or to inform on music or to inform on sports, people shut it off. And that's what's important to note here. This is why I talk about them being bullies, because it's not only a profit motive, not that it would be acceptable if it were, but the left has understood that culture is upstream from politics for a long time. But they're willing to take those losses if they think they can get their digs or their jabs in. It's not just a profit motive because you can consistently see across the board it hurts them. Same thing happened with anti-American movies, but they still make Redacted, they still make Rendition, Lions for Limbs. ESPN still went down this path when they took poll after poll. No one cared about Redskins. The Emmys is still going down. They ensure that every year is a further and further left host. You look at Rolling Stone, you look at Vice, they just go further and further to the left, and they just absolutely continue to collapse because it is an ideological motive. They are trying to create propaganda. It's not working, but they're still gonna dig their heels in, and it's important to note that. They're not just going after dollars. They're actually trying to change your political mind every single day. So when people say, hey, why do you talk about the Emmys? Who cares about the Emmys? Well, they care about the Emmys. And because culture is more important than politics, we need to be in the know, and it is it's so wonderful with new media, and when you see these things, you know, with us with Mug Club and YouTube, that we can actually speak out against this kind of, for as long as Google and Facebook and Twitter allow us. And that's why you see NBC, CBS, you see ESPN. What are they trying to do? They're trying to buy influence on YouTube. They're trying to buy influence. They're trying to get in there where new media started beating them in the numbers because they're scared and they're wrong, and it's not a profit motive. It's an ideological one, and it's an ideological one that sucks. Also, Donald Glover, I really like the guy. I think he's funny. But black people, most oppressed group? Are you out of your tree, sir?
Welcome back to SportsCenter. Before we close out the show, it is our duty to inform you of any of our mistakes this evening, and of course, apologize for insensitivity. So first, I would like to apologize to the American Fatherless Household Association for reciting the African American statistic, which, although entirely accurate, was offensive and out of line. I apologize.
And I would like to sincerely apologize for my remarks that I called ping pong, quote unquote, midget tennis.
You know, we don't get everything right here at SportsCenter, but we always try to correct the record. How was he to know? It'd be very difficult. I can understand how he... We also apologize that we hired a white individual to be throwing this basketball. We should have hired an African American for the job of lobbing us the basketball. However, it was difficult to find a Negro who would work for $17.50 an hour. Turns out if they're high level enough to throw a basketball accurately on air, they should be working professionally.
And we sincerely apologize for not hiring a Jewish accountant. We are facing bankruptcy.
Yes, we also sincerely apologize for not hiring a non-Jewish lawyer, which of course we need to meet a quota based on consonants in the last name. And Mr. Silverstein, you've also been issued papers. Your services are no longer required. We apologize for that as well. Very nice man.
Great guy.
But he's taken someone's spot.
And I would also personally like to apologize for calling the WNBA, quote unquote, a chaotic lesbian party.
I would also like to apologize for saying that the WNBA was, quote unquote, for those who like black women but hate good basketball.
And I'm very sorry for saying that I wanted Floyd Mayweather to hit Conor McGregor like he was his wife.
Yeah, that one was
accurate.
Not as offensive to
accurate.
Not as offensive to most women, actually, because they believed that to be the case and saw it as a dig. But it was offensive to the overwhelming number of black males in the community who, when they rarely stay with their wives, do tend to beat them mercilessly. Also, I realize that I am being asked to apologize for insinuating that the biggest asset Danica Patrick brought to the sport of driving was tits.
Yeah. GoDaddy.com. This has been SportsCenter.